Hello viewers! Today we have another video. I want to quickly talk about some of the new cards coming out, specifically one of them. Rare Candy, it's on the screen right here. I already have it up. I wanted to talk about this because I think it's a problem, and I believe it's way too early to have a card like this and to have a card that specifically is built the way that it is. This card has no drawbacks whatsoever. It has zero drawbacks. The fact that you can't evolve on the turn that you play a basic is not a drawback. That is a rule. That is just a rule. This is, hey, it's this rule that you can't break. Everything else you can. There's no other drawback. You don't go -1 card because you are technically, instead of playing a stage 1, playing this card, so you don't go -1 card, and it's not a supporter card. So you don't have to actually, trade a supporter for it. So you can theoretically Iono for a Rare Candy and a stage 2, and then you will be able to play those 2 cards and be able to attack with your stage 2 as well on that same turn. All of these things combining will make it so that the metagame is going to drastically shift to stage 2. Maybe it's what we needed, and perhaps this is why they released the card as it is, because they realized that in order for stage 2 decks to be strong, the card just has to be read like this. Perhaps that's the case. However, I feel that this is too much, and in a game of 20 cards, this makes stage 2 decks too consistent, and it's actually super toxic, and it's going to become a game of not decisions, but rather who gets their stage 2 first, who gets their Rare Candy into the stage 2. And whoever can get that first will almost always win the game. Instead of, hey, I have some difficult decision. Even if Giratina Darkrai was the most dominant deck, it at least was creating an environment where a lot of decisions were having to be made about which Pokemon you were starting with, which Pokemon you were attaching your energy to, which Darkrai to attach to specifically, right? Do you attach the one to the active? Do you attach the one to the bench? Do you attach to the Giratina right now? There were a lot of decisions that you had to make with your energy that now it's, when you're evolving your stage 2, your energy goes on your Pokemon that you're going to be evolving, right? You choose one, right? And you're almost always going to be correct. So the fact that this makes it so that whatever you draw is now more important than how you play will make competitive Pokemon Pocket probably less competitive, just in general, because it's going to be more about draw. And that's taking the game to a negative direction. Perhaps, as I said, perhaps this is necessary, right? I mean, ultimately, we have a lot of people still complaining about this metagame, and for good reasons, right? It's the one deck being able to counter every single other deck that's trying to counter it is not good. Having a tier 0 deck is not good, and the only other tier 1 deck being Gyarados is terrible. And by the way, a point about Gyarados is dead. Alolan Raichu is able to fit in any deck as a counter to that, and that is your answer to Gyarados. It should die. There seems to be a lot of good electric support. Hopefully this means that a strong electric deck will make Gyarados phase out of the meta because it's too slow. I believe the metagame will also just be faster. We are on a turn 3, turn 4. We're on a turn 4 metagame, turn 4 attack, right? This is going to be a turn 2 or turn 3 attack metagame, and so Gyarados may just be too slow, and then there are also cards that are printed to counter it. So I think Gyarados is dead, thank Christ. If Gyarados is still strong, I will make an hour-long video complaining about it, not to worry. But it's okay. With regards to Rare Candy, though, it's very, it's super strong, and the direction that they're taking it is a drastic change. The fact that it's going to be with no drawbacks, it really just makes it so that it's really just what are you going to draw. Ultimately, whoever draws their Rare Candy stage 2 is probably going to win. If you both draw it, then it's just a match of fishing. Ultimately, it's just your stage 2 against their stage 2. I don't know if it's going to be a very interesting metagame, to be honest. I could definitely see a lot of competitive players complaining about this, and for future expansions as well, because this is not only going to be out for this expansion, this is out forever. That's something that's also important to know, that until it rotates or it gets banned or whatever they do, we are going to see this card in play for however long it's in the game, right? And it's going to dictate the metagame for the longest time, because this is pretty much the strongest that you can print to this card. Like, no drawbacks, not a supporter. This is the ultimate Rare Candy. This is the strongest Rare Candy they could have printed. The strongest thing they could have done is like, hey, put one from the deck to your active. But at that point, then there's no point in even playing the game, right? Then just whoever draws Rare Candy. Then at that point, why do we even play? So I created sample deck over here, just with Beedrill, which I believe is going to be the #1 beneficiary of this sort of combination of cards that have come out with the Rotom decks and the Rare Candy, which will make Stage 2 just super consistent. The reason I believe that Beedrill is actually going to be very good is because you can cut Pokeballs. You just run the 2 Weedles that are going to multiply, and you never have to run Pokeball, ever. So this just makes it so that you have more room for other supporters. You can run double Iono so that you can have more chance of reshuffling into the Rare Candy, into your Beedrill. You have the 1 Kakuna just in case. That might even get cut, the 1 Kakuna, right? Because the double Iono and a Pokemon communication with the double Rare Candy and a Rotom Dex might just be enough cycling and shuffling around to where it's enough. You can run 2 Ericas as well, so because of the fact that you're going to be in a more 1v1 metagame, Beedrill is going to be very strong with the healing that you can have. I'm already thinking of potential improvements that you can make of, say, Team Rocket Grunt as well is something to consider, because say you go first on Beedrill, so you go turn 1, you have your Weedle and you can't attack, you have turn 2, and then you can either evolve. You probably should evolve because the opponent is going to have 2 energy on their stage 2 when they get their Rare Candy, so you probably should evolve your Beedrill if you go first, and then you can go ahead and attack with your Beedrill if you're going first, and then if you attack with your Beedrill, detach, and then you do the Team Rocket Grunt and you get 1 head. The whole problem that I had with Team Rocket Grunt is that if your opponent is already winning, you can't really get yourself into a more winning position without getting at least 2 heads, and that's a 25% chance, which is very low. And so if you can make it so that you have the Crushing Spear taking out 1 energy, and then another one taking out 1 energy, right? So it's -2 energy. This is that shouldn't do multiply. I should make this more clear. -1, -1, -2 energy with this, right? So you go here, and you go -2 energy. That could potentially be enough to just make the opponent not be able to attack the next turn and win the game. And if you're going second, then this just naturally is advantageous, because if you're going second, you Crushing Spear, and then you can just discard from their opponent without when they have 1 energy, and then they are screwed. Most of the Pokemon that are with the stage 2s are looking to make 2 energy attacks, except for Charizard EX, which if you have 1 energy attached on the Charizard, you discard it, they attach 1, get 3, you detach 1, they still have 4 and can't attack with their Steam Artillery attack. So Beedrill, I believe, is going to be the biggest beneficiary of being able to evolve so quickly, just because of the energy advantage it has, and the potential it has with Team Rocket Grunt as well. You could potentially cut the red, you could potentially cut maybe a Sabrina, although I think Sabrina is just a very good defensive tool, so I don't believe cutting it is actually a very good idea. Perhaps cut 1 Erica even, right? Or maybe even one of the tools. It's, or maybe even the Kakuna comes out and you can put the Team Rocket Grunt. Another one is Potion, right? That you can put in, right? If you combine 2 of these with 2 of these, then you will have super healing on your Beedrill alongside the cape, and you have the capability of healing plus 110 per turn. Say that you take, I don't know, from a Solgaleo -120, right? That's 50 plus 110. 160 with Rocky Helmet, with red. They would need Rocky Helmet and red in order to kill your Beedrill. So only with one of those 2 cards, they're not able to kill it if you have 110 points of healing. And Solgaleo is the Pokemon I believe is going to be the stage 2 to beat. And that's why I believe that Beedrill is going to be the natural way of sort of getting around the big stage 2 metagame. But you could replace this entire core of this, so the double research, double Iono, double the Pokemon communication, and Pokeball, of course, on all the other decks that don't have something like this. The Weedle, like a multiply, right? Then you would just go ahead and put at least 1 Pokeball in the deck. You would put 1 Pokemon in the deck. There is actually arguments for 2, just to make sure that you get both of your basics out consistently. Either times 1 or times 2. But yeah, this shell of research, double Iono, 1 communication, double Rare Candy, 1 Rotom Dex, and Pokeball 1 times or 2 times with Sabrina, Cyrus, probably no Cyrus if you're running a big attacker. And then instead of Erica, you probably have the 2 Pokeballs, right? And then just have some tools. This whole shell can basically be used with whatever basic to stage 2 that you would want to do, either a 2-1-2 or a 2-0-2. However, this is not clear. You can do either like a 2-1-2 or a 2-0-2 with your basic stage 1, stage 2. And then just with this shell of the research rare candy, like this could basically just pop up any kind of stage 2 deck, right? Rampardos. Now here's the thing, this is most useful on EXs because of the fact that you want to go EX, delve stage 2 EX into stage 2 EX to get the most value out of your points. If you're doing this with a stage 1, you're just not getting enough value because you could just be doing it with a stage 2 instead. Rampardos is strong, but the fact that it just dies on the next turn after doing 130, and mind you, if we're going to be in a big stage 2 metagame, 130 damage isn't enough. Not without any boosts, not without nothing, it's not enough. So Rampardos is probably not going to be good with this specific combination. I think Rampardos is just good in the way that it is currently. Charizard is probably very good, so Galio is probably very good, just with the same shell. You're going to be seeing a lot of the same shell with just different Pokemon in it, different lines of Pokemon. Just one line of Pokemon is going to be extremely common. Yeah, this is just a quick outline, but truly, I think it's too early, and I think that the way that they are introducing Rare Candy with how strong they're making it is going to make the metagame to where it's just, hey, do you get your Rare Candy into Stage 2? If you do, it's a 1v1. Whoever wins the 1v1 is the GOAT. And, you know, that's the one way of playing. It's already what Gyarados does in the mirror, right? So, basically just playing Gyarados mirrors, but for Stage 2s. It's going to be an interesting metagame. Hopefully I'm wrong. I don't know if hopefully Darkrai is so strong that it somehow just beats all these stage 2 decks anyway, right? But I believe that the numbers are just going to be too much for Darkrai. So this is just my quick thoughts on what the metagame is probably going to turn out to, just because like Rare Candy is the big one, right? Like none of the other cards are really of massive importance other than Rotom decks, which also just very strong as a one-of in these kinds of decks which are looking for more consistency. Yeah. We could see a very toxic metagame next expansion. We can see a lot of people complaining. At the same time, this is what happens when you complain about one metagame. The developers are going to change it drastically towards a different direction. This is what people asked for. Like, I can't say this is not what we asked for, right? Everyone was complaining about the metagame, and we got a drastic shift. This will create a drastic shift in the metagame. So maybe I am being a little bit too negative about the outlook of what this potentially could look like. However, yeah, it's looking pretty. It's looking like we're going to be in a very draw-dependent metagame. I could even potentially see Meowscarada actually being good with this. That's the one. I know I said that EXs are going to be the one probably useful. Meowscarada is the one non-EX. If a lot of EXs are coming up, that could potentially be good with this, right? So, but at the same time, it has its own consistency piece with this Brigatito, so it'll be interesting how it develops. I can't say for sure, right? But this is all just speculation, but just initial analysis tells me that we are going to be in a very heavy stage 2 draw dependent metagame, which it's a little bit less competitive. So we'll have to see. Just initial thoughts. If you like this video, go ahead and drop a like. Please go ahead and subscribe as well if you'd like to see more content. Drop a comment to let me know what your thoughts are. Otherwise, I'll catch you in the next video. Thank you.